Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coding Bytes. I'm Yuri, an educator at Coding Lab. In today's episode, you'll be learning how to use variables to manage data in App Inventor. Here's a preview of what you'll be making by the end of today. In this game, you begin as a medium-sized goldfish. You can control our goldfish by pressing the up, down, left, or right button. You can press button A to eat smaller fishes. Pressing button B allows us to change our speed from normal to fast. Notice that as we press button B to change our speed, our energy will be consumed over time. Now, if we press button B again to change our speed back to normal, we would regain energy over time. The aim of this game is to eat smaller fishes to increase our score, while avoiding larger fishes that will cause our life to decrease. We have to reach a score of 20 for our fish to level up in size, and you have to reach a score of 50 to win the game. Now, click on the link in the description below to download the project file. Import the project file into your App Inventor and let's get started. We are going to start programming on button B, which will allow us to change the speed of our fish. Now, let's head over to blocks to start our programming. Given that there are two different values of speed in which our fish can take on, we are going to create a variable to keep track of our player speed. To create a variable, click on Variables, then select Initialize Global Name to Player Speed. For the initial speed, we are going to set it to a value of 7. Click on Math and select the value 0, and we can change it from 0 to 7. Now, let's create two other variables to represent our normal speed and fast speed. Once again, we can click on Variables and initialize two other variables. For the first variable, let's change the name to normal. And we are going to set it to a starting value of 7. So we head over to Math and we select a number, and we click and change it to 7. Now, for our second variable, let's give it a name, fast. And for the fast variable, let's set it to initial value of 14. So we can change the value to 14. The creation of these two variables allow us to compare our player speed variable to a variable normal or the variable fast, which is more intuitive to us. This makes our code easier to understand later. Now, notice that our energy increases or decreases depending on whether we are moving at a normal or fast speed. Therefore, we need to create a variable to keep track of the total energy that we have. To create a variable, once again, we can click on Variables, then we select Initialize Global Name. Now for the name, let's set it to energy. For energy, let's give it a starting value of 50. Head over to Math and we select a number, and we can change this to 50. Now, it's time for us to change the speed of our fish. Pressing button B allows us to change the speed of our fish. So, we can look for button B on our left. And we want to select the event when button B is clicked. We drag this event to our screen. So what happens when button B is clicked? We have to check if our fish is currently at a normal speed, then we want to speed it up to a fast speed. Therefore, we need to have our if then else block. To do so, we can go to our controls and we look for if then else. We need to check our player speed and compare it with our normal and fast speed. To do so, we can go to our variables and we get a variable. We want to get our player speed, and this we want to compare with our normal speed. We can set this to global normal. So we want to compare if they are equal, so you go to logic and you look for the equal sign. If our player speed is currently at a normal speed, what we want to do is we want to go ahead to set our player speed to a fast speed. So we go to variables once again, we look for set, and we want to set our player speed to a fast speed. We can get the fast speed over here. Look for global fast. Alright. If our player speed is currently normal, then we will set it to a fast speed. Else, we will actually set our player speed back to normal. So we set this to normal and we can join into our else block. Finally, let's trigger our clock component to change the energy bar at every time interval. Let's look for our clock energy on our left. You can scroll down the bottom to look for our clock energy. Whenever the timer is triggered, we want to either increase or decrease our energy bar. We select the event when clock energy dot timer. Now, if our fish speed is set to normal, then we want to go ahead to increase our energy bar. So once again, we need to check our conditions. We can go over to our control and we look for if then block. We want to compare our player speed with the value normal. So you can set this to normal. To compare if they are equal, we can go to our logic. We look for the equal sign and we can fit our player speed and our normal speed. When our player speed is normal, then we want to increase our energy by 1. To increase it, we can go to our variables. We want to set our energy to a value of energy plus 1. So you can set our energy and you can add 1 to it. Change this value from 0 to 1. Now, we have over here this code which increases our energy. However, our energy is currently free to increase forever. We have to restrict it to a value that is below 100. To do so, we can go to our math, we look for the equal sign, and we want to restrict our energy to be a value less than 100. So we look for our energy and we want it to be less than 100. So besides just checking if our speed is normal, we also have to check if our energy is currently less than 100. Only if both conditions are satisfied, then we can increase our energy. To combine multiple conditions, we can go to our logic. We look for the AND operator. And we can put our first condition in, and we can put our second condition. Now, let's go ahead to duplicate our if-then block. Besides just increasing our energy, we can also decrease our energy. This will happen when our speed is currently at fast. For our energy to decrease, we want it to decrease such that it reaches a minimum value of 0. We have to check that our speed is currently at fast and our energy is above 0. Only then can we decrease our energy. To decrease our energy, we can go to our math, we look for the minus sign. So we want to minus our energy by a value of 1. Now, what happens when our energy reaches 0? This means that our fish no longer has the extra energy to move at a faster speed. We have to slow it down again. To do this, we need to go to our control. We look for if then. We have to check, is our energy currently at 0? We can duplicate this and we can compare is our energy equals to a value of 0. If it is equals to a value of 0, it means that we have to set our speed back to normal speed because the fish no longer has the energy. So you can set the speed back to our normal speed. We change this to normal. Now, after updating our energy variable, we want to go ahead to reflect it in our game. So over here, we have this label which shows what is the current energy level. So we can set this energy level, which is represented in our label. The label that is called our label energy num. We want to set the text in it. For the text, we want it to take on the value of the current energy. The value of the current energy is given in our variable. We can set it to our energy. Lastly, we can call a procedure, which is our display energy. So this procedure is shown over here. And what this procedure does is it helps us show the color and the length of our energy bar. Thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something useful today. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video and click subscribe for more coding byte videos. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye!